We've invited Janice Mann. She's an attorney here in Metro Atlanta. Now, I just showed you the video. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you saw all of that unfold?
There is absolutely no justification for that officer to have tased Mr. Cure.
So, why do you think that?
There was no justification to tase him, and taking that action against Mr. Cure obviously significantly escalated the situation. Stopping someone for speeding and reckless driving does not demand an arrest. Mr. Cure had every right to ask why he was being arrested and why he was being taken to jail. That's completely reasonable for any private citizen to ask a law enforcement officer that.
So, what do you think the officer should have done?
He could have de-escalated the situation from the very beginning. There was no reason for him to ask Mr. Cure to exit the vehicle from the second that he approached. He didn't have to take out his taser at the very beginning of the interaction. What was the reason for that? What was the justification for pulling his taser out? He was not obstructing. He was following commands from the very beginning. I understand you have significant law enforcement experience as well.
Yeah.
So what would you have done differently?
You know, I don't want to be a Monday morning quarterback. I've said that before. But what I would have probably have done is try to figure out a way to de-escalate the situation. I probably wouldn't have walked to the driver's side because we had so much traffic. I would have probably walked to the passenger side and maybe try to have some type of relationship, communicate with him to find out what his state of mind was, asking what is his name, did you realize that you're going too fast? I'd also want to look inside the cab to make sure there's no other threat towards me, but I would not have asked him to step out of the vehicle as soon as I got out of the car.
Do you think that the officer would have acted any differently if the driver of that car had been a little bit more, that looked a little bit more like me?
You know, a lot of folks are concerned about that. You know, profiling, racial profiling when you pull someone over. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what his state of mind would be. But I would think as a police officer, whether they're black, white, Latino, male or female, I still want to use the same tactics to make sure that I keep that person safe and I keep myself safe as well, and any citizens who are driving by. So I'm not quite sure if that was a factor, but who's to say? It could have been.